Well, hello and welcome to Transform Tuesday, our weekly webcast on Alpha Transform. My name is Dave McCormick. I'm VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software. And today I'm going to be going over some techniques in Alpha Transform for doing lookups against Google spreadsheets. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But this is also a session for Q&A. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and type those questions into the questions box of the GoToWebinar control panel, and I will try to get to them during this session. Now, before I get started, since I'm here alone today, don't back up. If someone could just let me know if you could see my screen and if you can hear my voice, that would be great, and I'll go on from there. Just go ahead and type whether or not you can see me or hear me. Oh, great. Looks like I'm coming through. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. All right. So about 2 weeks ago, in fact, exactly 2 weeks ago, one of our solutions engineers, Nikos Kasantzis, put on, I think, a very cool Transform Tuesday webinar in which he showed off an equipment inspection application that used all kinds of cool behind-the-scenes TPL code. And I'm going to actually demonstrate that for you right now, and we're going to talk about one of those features and how to make that feature work in your own application. So let me go ahead and mirror my phone, and hopefully it looks like it's working. And what we're looking at here is Nikos's equipment inspection application. Now, in the equipment inspection application, the first thing a user would do is choose a site code, and that is like a building. And when he chooses the site code, which I'm going to click on right now with my thumb, you'll see that I've got 3 selections here. Now, these 3 selections, BOS 0001 through 0003, correspond to different buildings, and they have different information stored behind them. So let's say I'm to choose BOS 002, and I tap the check button, and I go take a look at the site location details by tapping on that button. You'll see that I now have a building name of High Rise 5. It has an address of Oak Street, and this is in Boston, Mass. And that's because I selected building 2 from that list. Now, that data is not actually stored on the device. In this case, it's actually coming from a Google spreadsheet. So I think I've got that spreadsheet open right now, and I can show it to you. Here it is. In fact, I don't need this phone, so let me just stop the mirroring here for a minute. Whoops. Oops. It's one of these guys. There we go. Stop mirroring. Thanks. As you could see, whoops, we selected BOS2, and that was the one on Oak Street. So this is actually a Google spreadsheet that I have the data in that I'm looking up from. So now Nikos supplied us with the code, and he supplied us with the data, and I sent out some links, I guess the Friday before last. So many of you who are signed up would have gotten those links. And let me just skip ahead, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I think I'm on page slide 136. Here it is right here. So I sent out an email. And if you didn't get this email, go ahead, send an email to tfservice@alphasoftware.com and tell me that you want the source code for the equipment inspection form type. But most of you have this. And when I sent it out, I sent out these 2 links. One was the source code link, and the other was the data link. Now, the source code link, if you just clicked on it in a browser, would look something like this. Let me just open up this link. I think I should be able to open the link right here. Right click. Oh, here we go. Hyperlink, open hyperlink. And what I got is this JSON document. Not very human readable, somewhat human readable, but that actually describes the transform form data. The transform form type. The other thing we sent out was a list to a spreadsheet. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how to take those 2 documents and get them to work with your own Google Accounts account. So we're going to pop down here and take a look at my next slide. And so the first step that we're going to do is we're actually going to go into Transform Central, and we are going to create a new form type in which to paste in that JSON definition I just showed you a moment ago. So let's go do that. I'm going to pop over here to Alpha Transform, and I've logged in already, and I'm on the Designer tab, and I'm going to go ahead and click the plus button to create a new form type, and I'm going to choose a blank form type. Now I'm going to scroll down here to advanced features. This may be hidden. If it is, just click on it. So I've clicked on it here. And I'm going to go down to where it says edit entire definition as raw JSON. So just pop over here and I'm going to select everything that's in there and I'm going to go over to my JSON source here and I'm going to select all of that. I'm going to copy it to the clipboard and I'm going to paste and I'm going to overwrite everything I have in here. So this now is the form definition. It includes the forms, it includes the icon, includes the fields, it includes the code, it includes everything, even the name of the field. And that actually is a problem because I have one named that. I'll show you what's going to happen when I click save. I'm going to get an error saying, I'm sorry, but this form ID is not unique. And so if you already have one that's called equipment inspection, you're going to need to name your form ID something different. I'm going to call it EQ inspection TT for TransForm Tuesday, and we're going to call this equipment inspection Feb TT. Okay, great. So now I could save this, and I've pushed that up to the TransForm cloud, and now I could go ahead and open that up on my phone, but it's not going to work. In fact, I'm not even going to see this new form, and I'm going to tell you why here in a minute. The reason is because along with that definition that you just pasted in, we also pasted in a status and role permission group that you may not have. So the very next thing that you're going to want to do after you've pasted in that raw JSON is you're going to want to go to the status and role permissions group, and you're going to want to just change this to a simple group. And what that means is that that form type is now basically available to us. So that's there, and I'm going to click Save Changes, and off it goes. Now, if I open up my form, in fact, let me just try doing that right now. Okay, screen mirroring. And okay. Sometimes it takes a minute to start. There we go. Okay. I'm going to go back. I'm going to open up. Ooh, by the way, did you see this new test version of TransForm here? If you notice, it looks a little bit different. We'll be going over that next week. That's going to be coming out very soon. So let me go here to the Add New. This would be the Add New tab on your version, or the Add New button now in this new version. And I'm going to refresh the form types. And I should see an equipment inspection. What did I call it? Equipment inspection inspect TT. So let me go ahead and download that. Equipment inspection. Here it is. Equipment inspection TT, or inspect TT. Actually, I think that's the wrong one. Oh, here it is. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tap on that site code field, and it's going to fail. Oh, error getting spreadsheet data. So why did it have an error getting the spreadsheet data? Well, let's take a look at the source, and I will show you why. All right. So let's go ahead here. Let's see. So just to answer a question that I'm getting real quick is, can the email that you want, if you want to get hold of this source file, is tfservice, as in transform service at alphasoftware.com. And if I could spell, I'm going to actually put that right into the questions window. Okay. Okay, so the question is, why didn't it work? Why couldn't I look it up? Well, let's take a look and we'll find out. The reason is we're going to go down here to edit custom code. We have just click on that. And that is going to slide in. But before we get into the code, let me just jump back to the PowerPoint. So the first thing we wanted to do, we just want to make sure we've gone through all our steps here, is we created a new form design in the designer. We went into the advanced section. We pasted in the JSON. We checked for a naming conflict, and in fact, we had one, so we had to change our form ID. And then we set the status role permission to simple group. So hopefully everyone is with me so far. If you're not, just post a question in the questions box. That's what it's for. So the next step we're going to do is we're actually going to set up a Google Sheet. And the reason this didn't work is because we had we didn't have permission to use that Google account. Let me go in, I'll show you what I mean. For the site code field, now that we're in the code editor, if I click on editor, it's going to show me the code that's underneath. This is the TPL code. Now, you don't have to understand how really any of this works. What you do need to know is how to substitute in the stuff that you need. And in this code that Nikos has sent us, here are two things we need to substitute. We need to substitute in the ID of the Google spreadsheet file, and we need to substitute in our own Google Sheets API key, okay? So I'm going to show you how to get those and how to put them in. So what we're going to do here, going back to the spreadsheet, is that the first thing we'll need to do is create a new Google account, if that's necessary. A lot of you folks already have Google accounts. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a new Google Sheet. And then you're going to want to paste the document containing this data here. You're going to want to paste that into the new Google Sheet. Let me just pop over to the Google Sheet. Here it is. Here's the Google Sheet. So the way I did it was I just opened it in an Excel and I pasted it. But what you can also do, I've got actually a spreadsheet of that. So you can open it in Excel. What I did was I just said Control A to copy everything, and then Control V to paste everything into that sheet. And I gave it the name TransForm Data when I was in Google. There is also the ability to do a file import. I didn't try it, but I assume that it'll work fine for an XLS file. So you'll be able to import it. There's two ways to do that. So great, you've got the sheet set up. Now, if you go up, while you have the sheet open, when we have this sheet open, if you were to go up into the address bar and you were to take a look in the address bar, you'd see it says something like this, probably sheets.or/docs.google.com/spreadsheet/d/ and then it has this sort of long gobbledygook string here, followed by a /edit. So this little section here, starting with the 1 and ending with the C, is in fact the ID of the Google Sheet. So you're going to want to copy that ID and you're going to want to set it aside. The next thing you're going to want to do with that Google Sheet is you're going to want to set its sharing options. And the reason you're going to want to do that is because we want to tell Google that it's okay for our app to access this spreadsheet remotely. So to do that, what you do is you go to, actually, let me just do that live. It's probably just as easy. Is while you're here, you're going to click that share button. And the share button should open a dialog, which it did. And right now, I've set it up. If you didn't have this set up before, you can. There's a different link. It looks a little bit differently if you haven't set it up before, but it just says, make this shareable. And so basically, I set this up so that anyone on the internet can find and view this. Now, there are ways of locking this down later. Obviously, there's some security concerns, but right now, I'm not really that concerned. I just want to show you the principle behind it. So that is that's how you make that shareable. So you just basically click the share button, say that anyone that view the web can find and view it. So we've done that. Then what we want to do, okay, so we have a Google Sheet, we have a Google account. Now what we need is a Google API key. That's the other thing that we needed to paste into our script. So to get the Google API key, we're going to go into console. And I've taken a series of screenshots to show you how to do this, but you're going to want to go to console.developers.google.com. And when you get there, you're going to say, oops, I've skipped way ahead. Hang on a second. You're going to see a button up at the top called Enable APIs and Services, and that's the button you're going to want to click. And on the next page, there's going to be a whole bunch of different APIs, but in particular, the one you're going to look for is called the Google Sheets API. You're just going to go ahead and click on that. When you click on the Google Sheets API, it's going to open up another screen, and over here, there's going to be a Google Sheets API menu on the left, and we're going to actually click down here where it says Credentials. And we're going to choose Create Credentials in that list. And it's going to ask us a couple of questions. So the first is, what is the API that we're calling? We're calling the Google Sheets API. and where are you going to be calling it from. Now, the options here there are several options, but the one that you want is called web browser, because really TransForm, deep down underneath, is really just a web page running inside an application. So that's how it is identified to Google. You're going to choose web browser JavaScript. And then before you continue, you're going to need to click this "What credentials do I need" button. And when you do that, all you need to do here is give it a name. I've called it My App. You can call it whatever you like. And then I'm able to create my OAuth client ID. And at that point, I'm almost done. The last thing I need to do when it brings me back here to this screen is to click the Create Credentials button. And then it's going to ask, what do I want to create? I want to create an API key. So I'll click on the API key. And then the very next dialog box shows you the key. I kind of have mine hidden here, but trust me, it's there. And you're going to want to copy that. So now you've got both the ID of the Google Sheet and the API for your Google Docs account, your Google Sheets account. And those are the two pieces of information that you need. So we're going to head back into TransForm Central. We're going to choose that code, and we're going to edit the custom code. We're going to go back here to the Site Code field and click on the editor. And in that editor, we're going to replace the ID of your Google Sheet with the ID that we got in our first step. And then for the API key, we're going to place an API key here as well. Now, I was talking to actually Nikos this morning, and I was asking, what is that A to Z parameter? And he said, listen, if you've got like a few hundred fields or something like that, that might be fine, but you may need to limit that, so that you may want to put a range of what you want to look at in that spreadsheet. So this could actually be like A to Z 100 or A 50 to something like that. So this is one of the options. You'll want to go to the Google API documentation to figure out how to set that. But I was just pointing out that was sort of interesting if you needed to limit what you're getting back. So once that is done, you're all set. So basically what you'll do is publish save that to the phone. Go back into TransForm on your phone and download the newest form types, refresh the newest form types, and create a new version. And when you tap on Site Code, it'll show you the codes that are available in that sheet. And when you choose one and you go to the site location part of the app, you'll see all of that data has been filled in. So I hope I've shown you sort of step-by-step how you could take Nikos's code and customize it for yourself using your own Google Sheet. Now I'm going to be doing some other examples in upcoming ones where we'll be pulling data from SQL Server using an API, and we'll have a few other examples as well. But I wanted to show you how to get up and running with Nikos's example. So again, if you need the links for the data or for the source code, go ahead and email tfservice, as in transform service, at alphasoftware.com, and I'll be happy to help you out. So that is it for today's presentation. Do we have any questions? No questions. Excellent. Wonderful. Well, you can always reach me at tfservice at alphasoftware.com. I want to thank all of you for showing up today. A copy of this will be made available on our TransForm Tuesday video library. Thanks again for showing up. Hope to see you next Tuesday. Take care and goodbye.